The blind date was empty, until an autistic boy walked in and said, "My mom will be right here." "You brought your son on a date with me? What a joke." Derek Richardson's voice echoed through the Italian restaurant, cutting through the surrounding conversations. Jennifer Carter, 32, a black woman with tired eyes, felt her blood run cold. Beside her, her 6-year-old son Tyler cowered in his chair, his fingers beginning that repetitive movement, the sign of sensory overload. "Derek, I explained on the phone that it would only be a few minutes until my babysitter arrived. She had an emergency." "I don't care." Derek stood up abruptly. "I came here expecting to meet a woman, not a desperate single mother with a problem child." The entire restaurant fell silent. Jennifer felt tears burning, but not for herself. For Tyler, who was covering his ears, swaying slightly. "Don't talk about my son like that." "I'll talk about him however I want. You should have warned me you were bringing baggage. Special needs child, huh? Even better. Who's going to want to deal with that? A black woman, a single mother, with an autistic child? Good luck." Tyler spoke, his voice small but clear. "Mommy isn't baggage. Mommy is good." Derek laughed cruelly. "Of course she is, kid. That's why she uses dating apps to find someone who can handle both of you." A deep voice with an Arabic accent cut through the air. "I think you should leave. Now." A man had risen from a nearby table. Tall, approximately 40 years old, dark skin, neatly trimmed beard, clearly expensive suit. His dark eyes fixed intensely on Derek. "And who are you?" "Someone who doesn't tolerate grown men humiliating children in public. Leave before I call the manager. This is none of your business." "I'm making it my business. Leave." Derek looked around, noticing everyone's contempt. He grabbed his coat. "Screw them. Especially you," he pointed at Jennifer. "Good luck finding someone stupid enough for your problematic package. It's hard enough being you, at a defective child. Get out." The stranger took 2 quick steps, his voice controlled but with absolute authority. "Before I lose my patience." Derek stormed out, muttering, "Typical. There's always some guy trying to be a hero for these women." The restaurant returned to normal. Jennifer was shaking, trying to calm Tyler, who was still covering his ears, tears streaming down his face. The stranger approached slowly, kneeling down to Tyler's height, keeping his distance. "Hi. My name is Kareem. Is it okay if I talk to you guys?" Tyler didn't answer, but he stopped rocking. Kareem didn't force eye contact, he just waited. "I'm sorry," Jennifer whispered. "Tyler has autism. He needs time when he gets overwhelmed." "I know that. My nephew is on the spectrum too. That's why I recognized the signs." He looked at Jennifer. There was no pity. Just understanding. "You didn't deserve that." Jennifer laughed bitterly. "It's not the first time. It happens on almost every date when I mention Tyler. Sometimes they're polite and make excuses. Other times," she looked where Derek had left, "they're honest about what they think. Any man who sees a child as baggage doesn't deserve to know you. And anyone who uses the color of your skin or your son's condition as an insult doesn't deserve to breathe the same air." Tyler lowered his hands. "Do you know kids like me?" "I do. My nephew Ben is 8 and loves dinosaurs. Especially velociraptors. I like trains. Trains are awesome. What's your favorite?" "Freight trains. They carry important things." "Yes, they do." Jennifer watched in surprise. Most people were uncomfortable around Tyler. "Thank you for stepping in. You didn't have to." "I did." Kareem hesitated. "Can I ask? This Derek, do you know him well?" "No. It was a blind date. A friend gave me his contact information. Why? Because I recognized him. Derek Richardson. He works at Richardson and Associates. I've run into him at business events. Kareem took out a business card. My full name is Kareem Al-Rashid. I'm the CEO of Al-Rashid Enterprises. Jennifer looked surprised. Al-Rashid Enterprises was one of the largest technology companies in Houston. I'm not saying this to impress you, but because Derek has a reputation in the corporate world. And it's not a good one. If he humiliated you like that in public, I imagine he wasn't very nice online before the date. Jennifer lowered her eyes. He sent me messages after I confirmed. When I mentioned Tyler and his condition, he wasn't polite. But I thought it would be different in person. Do you have those messages? I do, but why? Because men like Derek need to learn that actions have consequences. And because no one should humiliate a mother and child and just walk away. Tyler tugged at Jennifer's sleeve. Mommy, can I eat something? You promised me pasta. Of course, sweetheart. Can I join you? Kareem asked. I'd like to continue this conversation. And I promise I'll do my best not to make Tyler uncomfortable. Jennifer hesitated. Every instinct told her not to trust him. But there was something about Kareem, the way he spoke to Tyler, how he defended them without asking for anything in return. All right. What Jennifer didn't know was that Kareem Al-Rashid didn't just recognize Derek Richardson. He knew exactly who Derek was, how much damage men like him caused. And he had the resources, connections, and determination to ensure that Derek would never humiliate another woman or child again. If you're enjoying this story about justice, respect, and second chances, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to find out how a CEO turned a disastrous encounter into something much bigger. During dinner, Tyler ate his pasta with absolute concentration while Kareem and Jennifer talked. Kareem asked about Tyler's routine, his therapies, his interests. They weren't invasive questions, but genuinely curious ones. He does occupational therapy 3 times a week, Jennifer explained. And speech therapy twice. It's expensive, but he's made so much progress. 2 years ago, he barely spoke. Now, she looked at her son with pride, now he won't stop telling facts about trains. The progress is incredible, Kareem said sincerely. My nephew Ben went through a similar journey. Today he's in regular school with support. Jennifer sighed. That's my dream for Tyler. But the cost, she stopped, realizing she was sharing too much. I'm sorry. You don't need to hear about my problems. They're not problems. They're challenges you face with admirable courage. When they finished eating, Kareem returned to the previous subject. The messages Derek sent you. Would you mind showing them to me? Jennifer hesitated, then picked up her phone. She opened the dating app and showed him the conversation. Derek's messages started out normal, but when Jennifer mentioned Tyler, the tone changed dramatically. Derek, you have a son? How old is he? Jennifer, yes, Tyler is 6. He's autistic, so sometimes I have to adjust my schedule because of his therapies. I hope that's not a problem. Derek, really? You should have mentioned that before. I don't know if I want to deal with all that baggage. Jennifer, I understand if you want to cancel. But Tyler is part of my life and I'm not going to hide that. Derek, look, you already have things working against you, if you know what I mean. Adding a special needs child into the equation makes everything more complicated. But let's meet anyway. Just don't bring the boy. Kareem read silently, his face hardening with each line. He wrote things against you. Was that a reference to your color? Jennifer nodded, embarrassed. Yes. But I still accepted the date because my friend insisted that he was just too direct, and that in person it would be different. Jennifer, Kareem said firmly, that's not being direct. That's being racist and ableist. And you shouldn't accept that from anyone. I know, she whispered. But when you're alone, raising a child with special needs, sometimes you accept crumbs because it seems like that's all there is. Kareem took out his cell phone. Can I take a picture of those messages? With your permission. Why? Because I know Derek from the corporate world. And there's something you need to know. He paused. Derek Richardson isn't just a consultant. He's a minority partner at Richardson and Associates. His firm provides services to several corporations, including companies that have strict anti-discrimination policies. Jennifer frowned. So what? So what is that if these companies knew that one of the partners in his consulting firm was publicly humiliating black women and children with disabilities, they would terminate their contracts immediately. Especially now, when corporate social responsibility is paramount. You want to expose him? I want him to face consequences for his own actions, Kareem corrected. But I need your permission. And I need more information. Jennifer looked at Tyler, who was now drawing trains on a napkin. I don't want Tyler exposed. He's already suffering enough. Tyler won't be mentioned by name. But Derek's behavior? That needs to be known. Over the next few days, Kareem worked discreetly. As the CEO of a technology company, he had resources that most people didn't. He hired a private investigator to examine Derek's history. What he discovered was disturbing. Derek had a pattern. Over the past 3 years, there were at least 7 women on dating apps who reported similar behavior. Some were single mothers. Others were women of color. All reported cruel insults when Derek discovered something he considered a flaw. Kareem asked 3 of these women for permission to record anonymous interviews. All agreed, tired of seeing men like Derek get away with it. He called me fat and desperate, one woman reported. He said I should be grateful he showed up, considering what I looked like. He found out my mother is disabled and I take care of her, another said. He said he wasn't going to inherit someone else's problems. Kareem also discovered something more explosive. Derek had posted on anonymous online forums, bragging about putting women in their place on dates. He used explicitly misogynistic and racist language. I went out with a black woman yesterday, said a post from 3 months ago. I thought it would be easy because they're always desperate. But she had a special needs child. I told her to fuck off in front of everyone. It was hilarious. The investigator traced the IP address to Derek's computer at the office. Meanwhile, Kareem also approached Jennifer and Tyler. He didn't force anything, he just made himself present. He would show up at the park where Tyler had occupational therapy, casually passing by. He would send messages asking how Tyler was doing. Jennifer was cautious at first, but Kareem was patient. He understood that she had reasons not to trust easily. 3 weeks after the restaurant incident, Kareem invited Jennifer and Tyler to visit the Al Rashid Enterprises facility. We have an assistive technology program that develops tools for children on the autism spectrum, he explained. I thought Tyler might like to see it. Tyler was fascinated by the interactive tablets and visual learning programs. Jennifer watched her son engage in ways she rarely saw outside of therapy. This is amazing, she told Kareem. Tyler is so focused. Technology can be powerful when used to include, not exclude, Kareem replied. He hesitated. Jennifer, I found things about Derek. Things that show his behavior is standard, not an exception. I have testimonials from other women. I have online posts where he brags about humiliating people. Jennifer turned pale. He does this regularly? Yes. And it's time to stop. How? With your permission, I want to take everything to the press. An investigative journalist I know is interested in the story. But only if you agree. Your name will not be used without permission. Jennifer looked at Tyler, laughing as he interacted with the tablet. She thought of all the other mothers, all the other women Derek had humiliated. She thought of how Tyler would grow up in a world where men like Derek acted with impunity. "Do it," she said finally. "But on one condition. I want to speak personally. I want people to know that behind every funny encounter, there is a real person. A real child." Kareem smiled. "That can be arranged." What Derek Richardson didn't know was that his actions hadn't just been cruel. They had been the catalyst for something much bigger. And that the man he had ignored in that restaurant had the resources, determination, and connections to ensure that the truth came out in a devastating way. 2 weeks later, the annual Houston Business and Corporate Social Responsibility Conference was taking place at the Grand Hyatt, bringing together CEOs, investors, and business leaders. Derek Richardson arrived confidently, greeting clients. His panel on efficiency in corporate consulting was scheduled for 2 p.m. What he didn't know was that Kareem Al-Rashid was sitting in the third row. Next to him was Jennifer Carter, wearing a professional blazer. And on stage, waiting to speak before Derek, was Catherine Mills, an investigative journalist for the Houston Chronicle. "Good afternoon," Catherine began. "Today I'm going to talk about something that contradicts the values of this conference: discrimination disguised as personal preference." The big screen lit up. Messages from Derek to Jennifer appeared, the names blurred but the content visible. Derek, in the front row, froze. "This is Derek Richardson, partner at Richardson & Associates. These are messages he sent to a woman. Things against you, baggage, special child, making everything complicated." Murmurs filled the auditorium. Derek tried to get up, but Catherine continued. "We have testimonies from 7 women over the past 3 years, all reporting similar behavior." The screen changed. Women's voices, blurred faces, telling their stories. "And then we have this," Catherine showed prints from online forums. Posts where Mr. Richardson brags about putting women in their place, using explicitly racist and ableist language. The auditorium exploded. Derek stood up, his face red. "This is defamation. Sue us? We have confirmation of the IP traced to your work computer. And we have this." The screen changed to video from the restaurant. Derek yelling at Jennifer and Tyler. The audio clear: "A black woman, single mother, with an autistic child? Good luck." Absolute silence. "And now, I would like to introduce Jennifer Carter, the woman Derek publicly humiliated." Jennifer walked onto the stage, her legs shaking but determined. "My name is Jennifer Carter. I am 32 years old. I am a nurse at a children's hospital. And I am the mother of Tyler, a 6-year-old boy with autism who is the light of my life." She looked directly at Derek. "When Derek insulted me in that restaurant, it wasn't just about me. It was about my son. A 6-year-old boy who already struggles every day. Derek called my son defective. Baggage. In front of dozens of people. Tears streamed down her face, but her voice remained steady. "Do you know what my son said? Mommy isn't baggage. Mommy is good." 6 years old, processing sensory overload, and he still defended me, while a grown, successful man chose cruelty. The audience was in tears. "I'm not here for revenge. I'm here because there are other women. Other mothers. People Derek humiliates because he can. And it needs to stop." She stepped down. The auditorium erupted in applause. Derek tried to leave, but was surrounded by reporters. "Mr. Richardson, what do you have to say?" That was taken out of context. Context. Catherine appeared. What context justifies calling a child defective? Derek had no answer. Kareem approached, standing between Derek and Jennifer. "You better leave." Derek recognized him. "You planned this." "No. You planned it when you decided that humiliating people was acceptable. I just made sure everyone knew. Over the next 48 hours, the story exploded. Hashtag Derek Richardson Exposed trended nationally. Companies began canceling contracts. Microsoft was first. We cannot be associated with discriminatory behavior. Then IBM. Then Chevron. In 3 days, Richardson and Associates lost 60% of its clients. The partners called an emergency meeting. "You've embarrassed us," the senior partner said. "We've lost millions. Our reputation. That was my personal life. It's work when you use our computer to post on racist forums. When you represent our company and act like that." Derek was fired that day. His equity stake was bought out for minimal value. His name was removed from the website. 3 of the women he humiliated sued. Jennifer didn't join them. She didn't want money. But the others did, with solid evidence. Derek tried to find a job. But his name was tarnished. Every search turned up articles and videos about his behavior. He tried to contact Jennifer, asking her to make it stop. Kareem intercepted. "Jennifer owes you nothing. You had a choice in how you treated her and Tyler. Now face the consequences." A month later, Derek lost his luxury apartment. Then his car. He had to move back in with his parents at age 38, facing 3 lawsuits and a destroyed reputation. Jennifer was contacted by advocacy organizations for parents of autistic children. Her courage inspired hundreds. "You showed us that we don't have to accept crumbs," one mother wrote. "That our children deserve respect." Kareem remained present. Not as a savior, but as a friend. Tyler even called him Uncle Kareem. 2 months after the conference, Jennifer and Kareem were walking in the park while Tyler played. "Thank you for everything," Jennifer said. "You did the hard work. I just provided resources." "No. You provided something more important. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." Kareem looked at her, then at Tyler. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Would you be willing to have dinner with me? For real this time, not as a strategy. Just us." Jennifer smiled, tears in her eyes. "I'll have to check with my son first. He has strong opinions." Tyler came running up. "Is Uncle Kareem going to have dinner with us? Would that be okay?" Kareem asked. "Yes. But you have to like chicken nuggets." "Chicken nuggets are excellent," Kareem agreed solemnly. Because justice wasn't just Derek losing everything. It was Jennifer regaining her dignity. It was Tyler seeing that the world could be kind. And it was Kareem discovering that family isn't something you're born into, but something you choose to build. 10 months after that disastrous meeting, Jennifer was at the opening of the Al-Rashid Carter Child Development Center, a clinic specializing in therapies for children on the autism spectrum. The double name was no coincidence. "Without you, this place wouldn't exist," Kareem had said when Jennifer protested. "Your courage inspired donations. Your story showed the need. Your name belongs here." The clinic offered free occupational therapy, speech therapy, and family support to low-income families. Tyler was the first official patient. At the ceremony, Kareem gave a speech. "This center exists because a mother refused to accept that her son was baggage. Because she taught us that dignity is non-negotiable. And because a 6-year-old boy reminded us that kindness is the only language that matters." Tyler tugged at Jennifer's sleeve. "Mommy, can I cut the ribbon?" "Of course, sweetheart." Tyler cut the ribbon with Kareem's help, and everyone applauded. He didn't cover his ears this time. Months of therapy had made a noticeable difference. "I did it," Tyler shouted, hugging Jennifer and Kareem. "We did it." Catherine Mills was covering the inauguration. "Jennifer, can you give us a statement? Almost a year ago, I was being humiliated by a man who thought my son was a source of shame. Today, My son cuts the ribbon at a center that will help hundreds of children like him. If that doesn't prove that justice is worth it, nothing does. The story made the front page, From Contempt to Dignity, How a Mother and CEO Turned Humiliation into Hope. Derek Richardson saw the story from the small apartment he shared with a college friend. He had landed a job as a junior analyst, far below what he was capable of. He thought about sending Jennifer a message apologizing. But he knew that would be selfish. Jennifer didn't owe him forgiveness. He had made choices. Now he had to live with them. That night, Jennifer was having dinner with Kareem and Tyler. The three of them had been sharing the same house for 2 months, a decision made after months of gradual dating, carefully building routines around Tyler's needs. "Uncle Kareem," Tyler said, "are you going to marry Mommy?" Jennifer almost choked. Kareem laughed. "Tyler, we've talked about personal questions," Jennifer said, blushing. "But Mrs. Patricia asked if I was going to have a new dad. So adults do ask that question." Kareem knelt down beside Tyler. "You know, Tyler, that's an excellent question. And I think you should be the one to decide. I love your mom. And I love you. I would love to be your real family. But only if you want me to. What do you think?" Tyler considered it seriously. "You always play trains with me even when you're tired." "Always. And you never yell at me when I make noise." "I never would. And Mom smiles more when you're here." "I smile more when I'm here, too." Tyler nodded. "Then you can marry Mom. But I'm the best man." "It's a deal," Kareem said, holding out his hand. Tyler shook it solemnly. Kareem turned to Jennifer, who was crying with laughter. "Your son gave his permission." He took a small box from his pocket. "Jennifer Carter, you taught me that family isn't about perfection. It's about acceptance. Will you build that life with me?" "Yes," Jennifer whispered. 1,000 times yes. Tyler clapped. "Can I have dessert now?" They got married 4 months later, in a small ceremony in the clinic's garden. Tyler was the best man, carrying the rings in a box he had decorated with train stickers. In her speech, Jennifer told the whole story. "Almost a year ago, a cruel man tried to make me believe that Tyler and I were less. That our family was baggage. But he was wrong. We weren't less. We were enough. And we deserved someone who saw us as a gift, not a problem." She looked at Kareem. "Thank you for seeing that Tyler wasn't an obstacle, but a blessing. For understanding that real love accepts the whole package. And for showing my son that real men defend, they don't destroy." 6 months after the wedding, Tyler entered regular school with support. His progress was so remarkable that he became a case study at the clinic. He still had difficult days, moments of overload. But he had a family that supported him unconditionally. Jennifer continued as a nurse, but now she was also the clinic's advocacy director, helping other families. She spoke at conferences, sharing her story. "Your value is not determined by those who reject you," she said. "It is determined by who you choose to be when facing rejection." Derek eventually left Houston, moving to a city where his name was not recognized. He worked modest jobs, never regaining his status. But the story was not about Derek. It never was. It was about Jennifer, who refused to be diminished. It was about Tyler, who taught that different doesn't mean lesser. And it was about Kareem, who proved that some men don't just accept circumstances, they celebrate them. One night, almost 2 years after that fateful encounter, Tyler was in bed while Kareem read him a story about magic trains. "Dad," Tyler said naturally. He had started calling him that shortly after the wedding. "Yes, son. Do you think that mean man feels guilty?" Kareem paused. "I don't know, Tyler. But you know what I do know? That he missed out on getting to know you. And that was his choice. His loss." "And your gain," Tyler said with simple logic. "Exactly. the biggest win of my life. Because in the end, the real victory wasn't Derek losing everything. It was Jennifer gaining everything: love, family, purpose. It was Tyler growing up knowing he was valuable just as he was. It was Kareem discovering that the most meaningful family is one that is consciously chosen, patiently built, and strengthened through challenges. The best revenge is not to destroy those who hurt you. It is to build a life so full of love and meaning, that their cruelty becomes irrelevant in the face of the magnitude of your happiness. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that everyone deserves respect and dignity, subscribe to the channel and share it so that more people discover that the end of the story is written by ourselves, not by those who tried to diminish us. Comment on a time when someone defended you when you needed it most. Your story may inspire someone today.